if you start playing this game, I think you're going to drop a Final Fantasy VII, and I don't think you're going to go back.
And that is exactly what I'm worried about.
Yeah. So,
because that game is frustrating me.
Well, let's talk about that. Like, what is going on with that game?
So I love the game. There's no denying that. I've had a great experience with it. It's about a 40-hour game. So I was right about that, and so was How Long to Beat. And the way that the game is structured is everything seems to be paced out quite well. At least that's been my take on it for the time that I've been playing it, which is quite some time now. And the last 2 chapters, man, Joe was not kidding. He kind of warned me. He's like, all right, well, it's still going to take you some time. And I was like, yeah, but it's the last 2. Like, it can't be much longer. And I just feel like the 40 hours are compiled into 2 chapters of the game. It just seems that way. And the reason why is because they give you 58 bosses at the end of the game to fight.
Now when you say...
Not literally.
Okay. I was going to ask you, like...
Not literally.
Is that like an official count?
No, this is absolute sarcasm.
Okay.
But there's a lot of bosses, there's mini bosses, there's regular bosses, and it just feels like they're back to back to back, and everything's good. Like, the gameplay's still great, and it gets a little frustrating here and there, which is fine. I can handle that, but... the more bosses that you get to, the harder they get and the more frustrating they get. And you start dying more, and you're having to play this whole game of healing this character, and then when that one dies, you get a Phoenix down that character, and it just becomes this juggle fest of curing and Phoenix downing and attacking and blocking, and you have to block way more in the end, which I had noticed like in most of the time that I've had with the game, I rarely blocked at all. I probably should have, because it's quite useful now that I'm actually doing it. But yeah, the last 2 chapters, I thought I was going to be able to wrap them up in, 2 to 4 hours, and I ended up playing a good chunk on Saturday and then a massive chunk on Sunday, and I'm still not done. Yeah. So that says a lot about the last 2.
When you texted me to kind of give me an update, there was this desperation in your text.
Oh my God, I was so frustrated. I remember I actually lost Joe's number along with a few other contacts due to like an iCloud issue some time ago. Yeah. And I was so frustrated. I had to go on Discord, and I was like, hey dude, can you give me your number like stat? Because I need to bitch. So he gave it to me, and we kind of talked about it a little bit today, and he's had some frustrations with the end, and so have apparently many other people, and I don't really know what their frustrations are because I'm avoiding spoilers. Yeah. So I don't know if their frustrations with how the plot is apparently slightly different, or the level of difficulty, or a mixture of both. But I can say that I think I'm beginning to understand why the end of this particular game, or this I wouldn't say version, but this first installment of the 3 games, however many they're going to release, I can see why people are frustrated.
Yeah, I've heard some spoilers on it. I was a little more careless with spoilers for this game because I had already, thoroughly exhausted the original. And I kind of heard some stuff that I'm not going to repeat here, but I'm sure you'll experience it. And I mean, just what you've already described to me alone up to this point is so vastly different from the original game that they are absolutely taking liberties with what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it just gets exhausting. It gets to the point where you just want to wrap things up, and you feel like there's going to be closure. And the moment that you feel that in chapter 17, because there's 18 chapters, you then begin to realize this is far from over. And when I went on the internet to go and see how many more boss fights I was going to, have to deal with, there was many more. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do all this. And that's literally what I said to myself internally and out loud. I was like, I really don't want to do this. And it's not because I hate the game or anything like that. I just kind of want it to end.
Yeah, I mean...
And again, I just want to be clear. It's not that I want it to end because it's bad. It's just I feel like it's right to close it out at this point. And the fact that they don't is just really maddening because I'd rather deal with like a long cutscene than have to do 56 bosses as a way to close the game.
Right. There's just I think like this line that a game can cross very easily, where they're just too much content, Doom.
It's too much.
Doom did it. Doom Eternal. Like the whole second half of the game, I just kept waiting for it to end. And like the further along I got, the worse it became. And there were multiple reasons for that, but generally speaking, the game just felt like it had reached its peak and it was time to just come to a stop,
I think a good way to think of this, an analogy, if you will, that I just thought of, and I am not a fast food person, but imagine, eating a small fry from McDonald's, paced out nicely for quite some time, and at the very end, when you hit Chapter 17, they give you a Big Mac, the biggest Coke possible, a giant fry, and 2 apple pies, and you got to eat that in 5 minutes.
Ooh.
That is what the end of this game is like.
And
some might say, well, you know what? That doesn't sound like such a bad idea, but it is a bad idea when you have to do it in 5 minutes.
That's rough.
And it's just, I don't know, man. It's a little disappointing because I really wanted to wrap it up on Saturday, let alone at least mid-afternoon Sunday. And when that was not happening and I was still playing in the evening, I was like, shit. I remember texting you. I was like, dude, I am not starting The Last of Us 2 tonight. God damn it. And by the time I did, I was so burnt out. I was like, motherfucker, I can't even play it now. Because once I had completed something in The Last of Us 2, I was like, I can't do this right now. I'm tired. I don't want to sink my teeth into this because it's too heavy. And I'm already irritated with this. So now I'm just going to call it quits.
It may be worthwhile for you to wrap up Final Fantasy VII, and then depending on how far into Last of Us you are, just restarting from scratch.
Yeah, I probably will. I didn't get far at all. It was like literally 5 minutes, but I still might do it anyway, just out of sheer principle.
Yeah. Kind of wipe the slate clean.
Yeah, I didn't go in with a fresh head whatsoever.
Yeah.